Hey, what's up everyone? This is Rain from China. These days, the Russia roulette is just aiming at the Ukraine, which caused a lot of more tensions in Europe. And we don't know if it will become a war in the end. As our China government, our Chinese media, we just stand alone with Russia. You know, the president of Russia, Putin, he just participated in the opening ceremony of our Beijing Winter Olympic Games, while the most Western countries just boycotted it. So today I'm just gonna talk about some of my personal opinions about how our China think about this war in Ukraine. I will break down this video into 3 sections. First, I will talk about some background history between China and Russia, the real relationship between China and Russia based on some historical events. And second, I will do an assumption that how far will Russia push this war in Ukraine. And in the last part, I may also do some prediction about the effect that will impact on China if this war happen. First, the real relationship between China and Russia. I can describe it in one sentence that we are aligned, but we are not alike. These days, we became friends. We became so close friends because we have the same enemy, which is the US, the Western countries, the Western ideology. There is an old saying in China that enemies is your friend. So yeah, I think that's an exact description for our relationship between Russia. Actually, once in the history, China just suffered a lot from Russia, and we went a very bad, shameful history that the Russia just took over a lot of land areas from China when it's in the Qing dynasty. Let me show you a picture that these red areas once all belonged to China, but the Russian Empire, they just occupied all of them, and they still not return it till today. It was happened in Qing dynasty, and the Russian Empire, they just forced the Qing dynasty to sign a series of the unequal treaties, and they took over all of these areas.
According to Wikipedia, Amur annexation. The Amur annexation was the annexation of the southeast corner of Siberia by the Russian Empire in 1858 to 1860 through a series of unequal treaties forced upon the Qing dynasty of China. The two areas involved are Primorye between the Amur River and the Stanovoy Range to the north, and Primorye which runs down the coast from the Amur mouth to the Korean border, including the island of Sakhalin. The territory of Outer Manchuria was formerly under the administration of Qing China.
These areas once all belonged to the Soviet Union, but after it collapsed, it turns into the Mongolian, maybe I cannot pronounce this name, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and some other areas I cannot figure out the countries one by one. And so, yeah, these areas once all belongs to China, and I guess we will never take it back anymore. So actually these days, when I browse the internet in China, I still can see some nationalists just remind us, don't forget about this history, that what the damage that Russia once did to China, and we should always be cautious about Russia because it's our neighbor and it's a very strong neighbor. No one knows what's the real intention of the Russia. Maybe we are just friends temporarily, and if they tend to take more areas, if they tend to invade their neighbors, who knows? We have to be cautious about this white bear. Second, I just collect some assumptions that how far will Russia push for this war. Most people think if the Russia want to trigger this war, it at least should happen after the Winter Beijing Olympic Games. Otherwise, it will make some distractions to their friends, China. Some people may think that Russia is planning a full-scale invasion. They want to see the capital Kyiv and overthrow the government. Some people may think that Russia may seek to annex more territory in eastern Ukraine. to carving out a corridor link Russia with Crimea. Some others, they think that Russia may just want a small war. They want to save the Kremlin-backed separatists in Donbass. It's an eastern region of Ukraine, and in the meantime, degrades the Ukraine's armed forces. These are some of the assumptions from the internet, but we can get a conclusion that there is a high possible that we cannot avoid the military conflicts in that areas. And the last part, what the effect will impact on China and what our Chinese think about it. I will just share about some of my personal opinions. So yeah, it's just my personal opinions. Point 1, if our China government will set the Ukraine war as a trial attack to invade Taiwan, which means if the Russia attack Ukraine successfully and the Western countries just leave it alone, and our China will take it as a precedent, so we have more boldness to invade Taiwan. I don't think so, actually. You can make your post here. Yeah, I'm very interested about your opinions, about the Western people opinions. If the Russia will invade in Ukraine, Western countries will post the punishment, post the sanctions on its economics, on its high officials. And actually, Russia is a country that, based on its natural resources, they depend on exporting their natural gas and some other commodities. But China is different. We are a country that connected tightly to the global industrial, to the global supply and the global value. If the Russia gets sanctions, they still can seek the technology, the market, and the political support from China. But if we get sanctions, very huge sanctions, what are the other country we can seek the help for? So to this point, I don't think we would take the Ukraine war as a precedent for war to Taiwan. It just didn't worth it. Point 2, I have to admit that to some degree, the China government is really smart. We always focus on the economic development. Let me give you some past examples. In 2014, when Russia invaded Ukraine, actually we didn't recognize Russia's annexation of the Crimea Peninsula. We just blamed the tensions and the plots that are modeling by the hostile Western forces. And that's it. We didn't make any other forward actions. On the other hand, we just build the trade relationship with the Ukraine. So I have to say this is very smart, that when the Ukraine get bullied, when they get damaged, we just grasp this business opportunity and we build a very good trade relationship with Ukraine to take more economic advantages. Point 3, take it as a chance to enhance our Chinese Yuan payment system. If Russia triggers the war in Ukraine by the end of this month or sometime in the future, the US and Western countries will impose the sanctions in Russia, and highly possibility that the US will remove all the Russian banks from its SWIFT systems. So the Russia cannot use the dollars to make the trade. They maybe cannot trade with the other countries in the world, which really sucks. But we China will take it as an opportunity to promote our Chinese Yuan payment system, although we have already promoted it a lot in the Belt and Road system to promote it to our neighbor countries. But yeah, it's just an enhancement for our Chinese Yuan payment system. Also, it will help reduce the Russia's vulnerabilities of these Western countries' sanctions. Yeah, it's a very clever move for our Chinese government. Chinese Yuan payment system will benefit from this war. These are some of my opinions about the war in Ukraine and the effect that will impact on China. I have to admit that we China are, to some degree, are very smart. We will try to take the most economic advantage from this war to boost our economic development. Also, in the meantime, to make our global reputation in a kind of right moral status. Okay, thank you for watching, guys. In the end, I just 100% don't hope there would be a war between Russia and Ukraine, because the war means death. The wars mean the broken family. The wars means the broken heart. It's very bad to kill other people to tear up their families. Just don't want this to happen. Okay, see you guys in my next video. If you like it, please give me a thumb up or subscribe to my channel. I will bring more interesting stuff about China. And peace.